I'm welcoming the fitter this morning. How are you, mechanic?
Good morning. Not easy. There are so many things that we go through every day as a people. Yeah.
Anyway,
sometimes your battery just will not respond, and that's what happens to me.
I think you need to get a new battery. That's the whole point.
How long do you? I thought they said you could go for like a year with the battery.
It depends because of we tend to use air conditioning constantly. So
really, it runs down the battery.
Down the battery very often than we think.
Yes. I haven't heard this one before.
No, that's my experience. I'm not saying this.
Okay. So I guess I have to get a battery. Degree. I have to. Yesterday I was told it was probably because it was debt in the terminal, whatever it is. So if you get it cleaned, then you won't. But this morning it started again. So
you see,
I guess the battery is down.
Challenge. Sorry for you.
Wahala, but we're here. Thank God.
And I want to say a very good morning to a friend of mine who lives in Monrovia, Liberia, Randolph Halligan, as well as to your wife, Kathy. I hope that you're all having a good time in the capital of Liberia, Monrovia. And then also to my good friend who is a pharmacist with the Presbyterian Hospital at Boko. And Salifu Combat.
Can I say good morning?
Your wife, Flora. Yes.
I want to say good morning to a very special woman. Efwa Antoinette is in the UK. Bramford in the UK. Good morning to you. Yeah. Thank you for the surprise last week, by the way.
Yeah, that was
good. The cake was really nice. So
Bramford, UK.
Yeah. I don't know, was the cake brought from the UK to Ghana or this was made in Ghana? Let's do the newspapers now. We've got a couple of them in the studio. We'll run through the headlines. But Kojo is not with us this morning. I had a battery issues. He's got a voice problems. He's lost his voice, so he couldn't be on the show this morning. So hopefully he
his
can drink.
His vocal cords got disconnected. Hair battery got disconnected as well. So could you wish all the best as you recover?
Yeah.
All right. So can we do some newspapers? We're still talking men's gold and
we are absolutely
security
and SEC
exchange commission issues.
Yeah.
All right.
So we'll begin with the Finder. Let's start off with the Finder newspaper. Front page of the Finder. Court clears SEC to probe men's gold, but does NAM1 own properties to refund deposits? That's the big question being asked on the front page of the Finder this morning. Also, Dr. Awao voted best minister in 2018. Public funds will not be used to pay men's gold customers. Government issuing a statement yesterday through the information minister and making this emphatic statement. Many Ghanaian voters happy with performance of the NPP government. It depends on which angle of the research you pick. Aker Energy strikes 550 million barrels crude oil. So these are the front page headlines. The Finder newspaper today, Friday.
All right, so let's go to the Daily Guide newspaper. Has on the front page, government fires NDC over men's gold. The BOG, Bank of Ghana, floors NAM1. A picture there of a very handsome Nana Pia Mensah. Now, he's a wall, absent without leave, but I'm told he's on the wanted list of Interpol. They want him to report to the Ghana police. Chief Imam is my father, Owusu Bempa Bex. I'm told that Owusu Bempa went to the Chief Imam's place at Fadama here in Accra and gave a massive cow. So that's a good thing. We have to thank him. But next time, NDC fights Legon report and ECG takeover begins February 1. Well, let's get to the back page of the Daily Guide newspaper. Has on the front page, Minister hails contractor for Axim Sports Center, and we can beat Cotton Spore. Kotoko captain Bachin United under 17 represent Ghana in the United States of America. Okay, and we're told that Marino is now free to return to coaching after getting a compensation of some £15 million.
We don't care.
£50 million.
We don't care.
That's our drone money. The drone money has gone to Marino.
Let's do the Daily Graphic newspaper. Front page. Oh, you haven't finished the guide. Ah, okay.
So we have the center spread. Today we're taking it easy. We have the center spread. Center spread. So Israeli is represented. That's why I decided to do it. Israeli usual posts.
What is he saying?
Israel lie. Israel lie. Mocks Namwan on social media. And we know what transpired between the two. I'm not arguing in 2019.
No, I just think it's the interpretation of the writer.
Well, you know.
Okay.
How you go do them? Okay. So basically, those are the stories we have. Okay, and then Dr. Pakwisindum, chairman of Group Indum, has called on the media to stop fabricating stories about subsidiaries of his group. I agree. We need to, Charlie, it's not easy to do business in Ghana, so, Charlie. All right.
On to the Daily Graphic, can I?
Yeah, you can.
All right, Daily Graphic newspaper, front page. JoyNews clears the air. GS revises syllabi of basic and senior high schools. Owusu Bempah reconciles with Chief Imam and Sheikh Osman Nuhur Sharabatu, the national chief imam, in a warm embrace, the paper puts it, with Reverend Isaac Owusu Bempah, the head pastor of the Glorious Word and Power Ministry, during their meeting yesterday. Picture by Benedict Obuobi. Also, Dagbon roadmap faces danger, 1 dead, 3 injured in clashes. We'll get some details in the paper this morning. Back page, though, Australian High Commission supports construction of safe home, and Kintampo police rescue abandoned day-old baby.
You're
center
done?
spread. Let's check out what's in the center spread. Chief Justice swears in 8 circuit court judges and deal with indiscipline in all segments of economy. AmCham president tells government, and AmCham is the American Chamber of Commerce. All right, so that's what's in the center spread of the paper. Roland?
Well, we have the Daily Dispatch newspaper. So we have the front page stories going this way. If elections were held today, research by University of Ghana, Akufo-Addo and Mahama likely to head for a runoff. Minister on how Namwan met the president and the economic details in Accra, Tema, Techimine, and Cape Coast. Great. Railway Ministry to fence all railway lines in Ghana. Reminds me of Donald Trump and his fence wall. Okay. Instead of elections were held in Ghana, and Akufo-Addo would have had some 49.3%. John Mahama, if he was the flag bearer, would have won 33.3%. So those stories we have. We also have the Independent newspaper has on the front page 550 million barrels of oil discovered in Accra. It's in the Tunnel Basin area, Tunnel West Cape 3 Point area. Okay. Ghana with the progress more so. The money just needs to come down to our level. Mama V. I was reading the story about Mahama, that's why.
Front page of the Ghanaian Times. It's a nice name, I don't mind. Except that when you're called that, it should come with some cash, which I don't have, so you can't call me that yet. Let's do the Ghanaian Times newspaper. Front page, Tema Hospital morgue in ruins, ceilings, windows, electrical fittings fall apart. So the fallen ceilings and some of the planks on the floor, it's captured on the front page of the paper, but the details, the full story, you can find page 16. Accra High Court throws out men's gold suit. Minister of Business Development voted Best Minister 2018. That's Dr. Ibrahim Muhammad Awal. Taxpayers' monies won't be used to settle men's gold customers. That's emphatic, coming from the Ministry of Information. Back page of the Times, 3 institutions to remap Ghana. And that's the Ghana Statistical Service, the Survey Department, Electoral Commission, and other institutions will team up to remap the country and provide accurate boundary lines. That's because we've got 6 additional new regions. Minister orders probe into closure of Agbogboloshi Graphic Road. Details of that story on the back page of the Ghanaian Times. Center spread is that Tema General Hospital morgue situation, and then Ghana's population growth alarming, according to a population expert. And then 1 million households to receive waste bins is another story in the center spread of the Ghanaian Times newspaper.
All right. So take a look at some details.
Time to dig in.
Namwan is still present, ever present these days.
Okay, so I guess the angle making some headlines is the fact that the High Court made that decision in that case involving the SEC and Men's Gold yesterday on the position, whether or not SEC had the rights to do what they did in terms of stepping to do their regulatory duties with Men's Gold. A bit of that story. I'm picking this from the Ghanaian Times newspaper, page 18. It says the woes of embattled businessman Nanapia Mensah and founder of gold dealership Men's Gold is far from over, as an Accra High Court has dismissed a suit filed by the company against Securities Exchange Commission and the Bank of Ghana. Men's Gold filed a case in court in September 2018 after its license was revoked by SEC. The court, presided over by Justice Ikuamoa, dismissed the case yesterday following a preliminary legal objection raised by SEC and the BOG. It is a case of the regulatory bodies that Men's Gold failed to exhaust all the regulatory mechanisms for redress before going to court. Ruling in the case, Justice Amwa said she agreed with the two regulatory bodies that the gold dealership did not exhaust the necessary redress mechanism. So that's it. That's the case, and that's where we are. But where we are is still the fact that the CEO of Men's Gold we can't find. Some say he's on the run. We know that the CID is looking for him. Interpol has been asked to help, except that I think at the last check, which was yesterday, later in the day yesterday, we couldn't find him on that list of wanted persons by Interpol on the internet, if you like. So that's where we are. That's where we are with this matter. But that clouds hung over Yana and Danny's funeral. It's another one. The story by Yakubu Abdul Majid and Tamal is still in the Ghanaian Times newspaper. Says cloud of doubt still hang over the performance of the final funeral rites of the Yana, Yakubu and Danny, scheduled to begin today. Unconfirmed report at the time of going to press, there were some skirmishes as the convoy of Sagnari, Na, Yakubu and Danny's convoy made their way into Yendi yesterday, resulting in 1 death, 4 injuries and a house set ablaze. Mr. Bashiru Dabali, the spokesperson of the Andani Funeral Committee, told the Ghanaian Times that though some of the chiefs and those in charge of the funeral are arriving in Yendi, he could not emphatically say the funeral would continue today since it was not his duty to do so. More details in here. And this situation must come under some kind of control. There's a background to this, depending on where you sit. But we know that there were some agreements. Yeah. There were some
consensus.
Exactly. So now everybody's looking back at the Otumfuo-led committee to bring some sanity and get us back onto the roadmap. One group was supposed to exit after the funeral, and what we're told is that they're refusing to do so. But I don't know what you want to say on
yes,
this.
But I think that the Otumfuo-led committee did a great job because it took a number of years for some consensus to be reached, and a decision had to be made so that the traditional area of Dagbon could also move on with all its relative issues. And the issues, of course, have not been swept under the carpet, and that's why the Otumfuo-led committee of eminent persons decided to take that responsibility per what the terms of references were. They had met and had several dialogue with the various protagonists in all this issue. But it looks like not everybody will be happy in every situation. But for all issues relating to conflict and its resolution and all disagreement, it's only dialogue that tends to pave way for some calm heads to prevail. And I believe that all interested parties, if they want the forward march or the progressiveness of the Dagbon Kingdom, then they have to perhaps make some compromises, come to the table and make sure that for the difficulties that they could have with the agreements that may have been reached with both sides, at least we will be in a position to say that we have buried the hatchet, and at least peace also could prevail in the kingdom. It's a worry. It's a worry, I'm told, that sometimes it prevents many people down south who come from the area being discouraged to go to their home communities very often, because they seem to have this fear or phobia of going to their home communities. And more so, it affects development, because government has spent each budgetary year thousands of Ghana cedis, if not hundred thousands of Ghana cedis, on maintaining just the security or the peace alone in the area. And that's a concern for many people. And if they want development to prevail or to come to the area, then they have to give peace a chance. I guess we are outside observers. Those are the only words we can say by way of comfort and encouragement. But we have to do what is needful, what also will give us a certain progressive society by which we can allow things to...
Well, the good news this morning, our colleague Hashmin Mohammed is reporting that the Andani royal family of Dagbon has officially commenced activities marking the beginning of the funeral of the late Yana Yakubu Andani II in Yendi. This Friday, the Gbewa Palace traditionally commenced activities marking the beginning of the funeral. The family have threatened not to commence the process until you know, the other half of this process, because it's two groups, vacated the palace of the Mbadugu, where they claim he forcibly entered, but have now softened their stance. Okay, so it is not clear if the Bolilana has vacated the palace, but members of the funeral planning committee have said to Hashmin Mohammed, our colleague in the northern region, and in Dagbon specifically, that the Regional Security Council has promised to relocate him for the funeral to commence today. So we will touch base with Hashmin to get the very latest on this matter, because I mean, I think the end game is peace, and the end game is for the two factions to be satisfied, for us to have both funerals done. We're finished with one, we're left with the other, and that's what we want to see, and we want to see peace to prevail. All right, well, and any other angles to Men's Gold in the Daily Guide?
If you tend to monitor the news this morning or towards the end of the news day, the information minister gave a certain indication about what the position of government is about government unwilling and not taking any decision at all, or even not discussing the possibility of compensating or finding ways by which the customers...
That's just re-echoing what's the ordinary Ghanaian. Every Ghanaian, well, most Ghanaians, if not all, nobody wants their tax monies to be given to persons who invested in Men's Gold. So this is just
I've heard that
echoing the sentiments of ordinary persons.
I've heard that refrain, but I don't know whether
you disagree.
I'm not saying I disagree. I'm not sure that that's the larger voice of our society that is echoing.
Well, it seems to be.
Well, it's what the media is trumpeting, and once the media is trumpeting something, it doesn't necessarily mean that that's
when we take the microphones to ordinary people, that's what they say.
But they just form a microcosm. But let's move on. So I was espousing the point made by Kojo Ponkroma, the Minister of Information, and it looks like the position of government, you say, is a reflection of what majority of Ghanaians seem to think.
I think so.
Is not to compensate the men's gold customers who are
It's not to, okay, wait, let me, before you continue. I think what a majority of us are saying is, sell off the assets of Men's Gold. They showed off, they did a lot, they had so much. Ordinary people can point to things that they would want to believe because of the position by the CEO that he owned. Then you can do the background check and sell off these assets and settle what you can settle. But just don't touch our monies and say you're using. Okay, continue.
Yeah.
So it's not that don't find a way, but don't use our monies to do that.
But then if you take an analysis of all that has transpired, it looks like in order to satisfy the customers, perhaps some excuse me, some action should have been taken earlier as far as getting Namwan and Nana Pia Mensah, who is the chief executive of the Empire or his group, to come to account for what has been done, what the monies have been used for, etc. For example, you take a Facebook post of Ace Ananankoma, and we know he's a renowned legal practitioner in Ghana, and he seems to suggest that perhaps we created a certain opportunity for a decision to be made by the man himself as to what he needs to do with himself and the decisions that he needs to take before we ultimately said we wanted to get him into the grip of the law. So for example, he says that shutting the stable door after the horses have bolted is an idiom. That means that trying to prevent something happening but doing so too late to prevent damage being done. Not in Ghana. Here the horse is very happy in the stable. We will open the door and ask it to leave. When it refuses, we'll try and lure it out with food. And of course, it's very much related. We should have taken the action as quickly as possible. And I agree with Mr. Idrisu Mahama, who came here, who is a risk management expert, a banking expert as well, who said that maybe the decision of the police and government today should have been his decision a year ago. And now I think that it's too late for the customers to say that they can get something out of all that has happened. Looking also at the position of government and the decision that is being made currently, it doesn't look too good for the customers. It doesn't look too good for the customers. I don't know where those money, because if you look at the buildings and according to what the reporter, they seem to have been rented, unlike the projection that had been made by way of the image of management of Men's Gold that they own many of the facilities. Just yesterday, if you're going to Domi, they have one of the xylophone offices there. The insignia or the signages were being removed. It also shows that the building really doesn't belong to them.
You know, later this morning, one of the conversations that we want to have, because Men's Gold had another company, Xylophone, which had, in fact, still has some artists, even though we've heard some of them have left Xylophone. So they've got a huge chunk of artists, and they did quite a bit and spent quite some monies with all the things that they did out there. We want to see the impacts of Men's Gold on Xylophone Media and these artists. We've got Stoneboy in there, there's Shatawale in there, there's Joyce Blessing, who came out to say, because I read that she was exiting Xylophone. Stoneboy's contract will be ending soon, even though they haven't told us exactly when. There's Shatawale, which, you know, we're not sure. There's Becca also on Xylophone. I mean, the rumors, people talk and they say they are no longer with them, but we're really not sure.
But there's Kumi Guitar as well.
So there's Kumi Guitar
and then
also
other
on the brand. And so we want to try and measure the impact of this on entertainment and creative arts, because remember that they also have a fund. They have a fund. Remember, Chief Moment benefited from this fund where they give you money exactly, but with no interest, so interest-free, and then you pay back within a certain time. But it's as flexible as you can have it, I understand. So this will also have some impact on our entertainment industry. And we'll have that conversation with some great personalities in the studio later this morning. So it's not just Men's Gold and the customers, those that we see demonstrating, but there's, you know, the fallout of this will have an impact in other areas as well. And greatly is entertainment. Entertainment may suffer or not. We will talk about that.
And it's good that you're talking about its impact, Xylophone Cash, etc. Now, apparently, before the collapse of Ghana football, the problems that we had, Xylophone Cash was a sponsor of the Ghana Premier League.
Yeah.
They were supposed to have given the Premier League some $10 million over a period of 5 years.
A reason we had, we're told in the statement that we had the president in that shot. Where number one was as well.
I'm told that
because days before
GFA had gone to visit, so they took Nam1 along.
Yeah, because days before that visitation, and there was not the CAF president, not the CAF president, but the FIFA president as well. Remember, he had signed this deal with the GFA before that visit because the UPSA they were given this honorary degree. I'm sure you remember details of that.
Fantino, and then Ahmad of CAF. Okay,
Yeah.
but let's look at the online portals. But let's go to myjoyonline.com, Amavi.
Okay. Here's what we have on our page. The Dagbon peace process threatened, 1 dead, 3 injured in renewed clashes. But Hashmin Mohammed is reporting to us this morning that the process really has begun. What is happening? We'll get Hashmin to give us the very latest. What's the position with all this conflicting reports? With 1 dead, 3 injured, is it all chaotic, or the funeral itself is properly underway? We'll get Hashmin to give us the very latest. Also on myjoyonline.com, NAM1 working towards paying customers, according to Men's Gold spokesperson. So the thing about the PRO of Men's Gold is when, even before the announcement of the arrest warrants came, he was still talking about the fact that Men's Gold would settle the customers and
the PRO.
The PRO, yeah.
It's a good friend of mine.
Niyama is assuring customers when the CEO is nowhere to be found. He seemed to know the whereabouts. There are people who are saying the CID should pick him up because he can help them find NAM1. Let's move on though. MP support calls for removal of Ashanti Regional Police Commander, coming from that cooked story of the 7 being armed robbers and the reports exonerating the families, if you like, saying that those 7 who were shot, killed with those ammunition displayed, they were not armed robbers. So yeah, there's a lot of focus on the Ashanti Regional Police Command because the bus stops at his door. Where did that story come from? And he's still at post. So yeah, the pressure should mount on him. Let's move on with other stories on myjoyonline.com. Owusu Bempa Chief Imam smoked peace pipe. But in that clip, Owusu Bempa speaking, he said that he was it an appeal, or he was asking the security persons to abandon because he wanted to let go of the people that they were pursuing. I just want to say that it is not his call to make. Exactly. This is a criminal offense. It is not Owusu Bempa versus those people, but it is the state. So it's not in your place, Reverend Owusu Bempa, to tell the police that you don't want to pursue the case, so they should leave it. It's really none of your business. Okay, let's move on. Hollywood stars visit to Ghana useless, according to actor Prince David Osei.
Why is it useless? Anyway.
Okay, Team Techiman Ayuko. And on that note, sport is coming up, so we'll leave you to explore. Just go to myjoyonline.com and catch up with all the updates on our page.
Well, definitely. So Benedict Owusu and the rest of the sports team, they bring us the latest sports headlines. Stay with us.